Bumula ang bibig matapos patutsadahan ni retired Supreme Court Associate Justice NOEL Tijam kaugnay sa kanilang pinaplanong panggigipit sa mga opisyal na nagbabara sa kanilang mga plano. Kagustuhan ni Rimula na itapon si Senator Bato sa mga dayuhan, isang kahihiyan umano sa soberanya ng Pilipinas. Pero bago ang lahat, kung hindi pa kayo nakapag-subscribe sa channel na ito, please do subscribe para mas maging updated pa kayo sa mga susunod kong mga videos. Matapos nga ang kumpirmasyon ni Ombudsman Boying Rimula ukol sa umano'y inilabas na arrest warrant mula sa International Criminal Court or ICC laban kay Senator Bato, hinamon ni retired Supreme Court Associate Justice NOEL Tijam si Boying Rimula na ilagay sa mga kukote nila ang kahiyang matatamo ng bansa kapag isinuko nila si Senator Bato sa mga dayuhan. Sa oras umano na mangyari ulit ang nangyari kay FPRRD, maaari na umanong isara ang Supreme Court dahil pinapahiwatig na nito na wala nang kakayahan pa ang batas na mayroon ang ating bansa para litisin ang kasong ito at higit sa lahat, mawawalan na ng katatagan ang Pilipinas bilang isang malayang bansa. Samantala, narito ang inilatag na tanong ni retired Supreme Court Associate Justice NOEL Tijam na kung saan dapat ikonsidera bago ipadala si Senator Bato de la Rosa sa ICC. Questions from Justice NOEL Tijam. With the announced possible impending arrest of Senator Bato requested by the ICC, the more appropriate questions to ponder are this. If there is an ICC warrant of arrest and the same is enforced, is it legally enforceable? Will the Philippine courts approve the same? Will the Philippine Senate allow the arrest of an incumbent senator? Will the arrest elicit more sympathy or more condemnation from the Filipino people? Will the arrest cause more stability or instability in our country? Will Asian neighbors respect us or disrespect us for surrendering our sovereignty and independence? Will it entice or discourage more foreign investments? Will it create a constitutional crisis should the Supreme Court strike down said impending arrest as unconstitutional? Will it affect the still unresolved pending habeas corpus petitions filed before the Supreme Court relating to the rendition of FPRD to The Hague in violation of his constitutional rights? Kalakip rito, hayagang binalaan din ng naturang retired Supreme Court Justice Associate si Pangulong Bongbong Marcos laban sa kanyang pagpayag na kaladkarin si dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte sa International Criminal Court. Ayon sa kanya na malaki ang responsibilidad ng Pangulo na ipagtanggol ang soberanya ng Pilipinas sa mga banyaga. Kung kaya't ang planong pagpapadala kay Bato sa ICC ay siyang ikinababahala ni Tijam dahil abuso na umano ito sa korte ng ating bansa. Babala pa niya, Supreme Court Justice NOEL Tijam may unsolicited advice to PBBM. After publicly proclaiming that the ICC has no jurisdiction over the Philippines and its citizens, PBBM reneged on this statement and forcibly brought FPRRD to The Hague in a blatant violation of the Constitution. Abdicating Philippine sovereignty is a violation of public trust, rendering PBBM liable for impeachment during his term. After his term, FPBBM may be held liable for civil and criminal liability for the extraordinary rendition, state-sponsored abduction, detention, and interrogation to a foreign country of FPRRD. Even if the ICC proceeds to assume jurisdiction over FPRRD, that will not erase, exculpate, or mitigate the culpability of guilty parties who caused or assist in the extraordinary rendition of FPRRD. The ICC is an international court. It is not a country. It is a creation of a treaty. It is not above the national sovereignty of the Philippines. It cannot derogate, diminish, devalue, depreciate culpable violations of the Philippine Constitution and violations of Philippine laws. It cannot supplant or abrogate decision of the Philippine Supreme Court. The ICC cannot order the arrest of Filipino citizens without judicial process or permission, approval from the Philippine courts. The ICC is not a super court allowed to disregard international law and the national sovereignty of the nations. Even if FPRD in The Hague, that will not erase the civil and criminal liabilities of parties responsible for extraordinary rendition of FPRD. Crimes have consequences. So, if PBBM knows what's good for him, his administration in our country, he should exert all legal and extra-legal efforts to repatriate FPRD back to the country. Convince your foreign masters manipulating you and our country down into the precipice. Your political ploy of ousting Eni Duterte from the 2028 election was foolish, ludicrous, and harebrained. It's not worth risking it to cause the country's further instability. Your pursued legacy is doomed to fail. If you have an ounce of patriotism left in you, do the right thing. Samantala, binulabog din ng isang political analyst na walang legal na proseso sa pangyayaring ito kundi puro kulay ng politika lamang. Rimula's Republic when arrest warrants become weapons. When justice becomes political choreography and the Supreme Court bows to outside forces, what's left is not a nation of laws but a republic of surrender. A republic on trial. The Philippines is once again at the precipice, not because of a foreign war or an international rebellion, but because of a subtler invasion. The erosion of judicial sovereignty through political theater disguised as legal procedure. The latest episode is this slow-motion collapse centers on Senator Ronald Bato de la Rosa, the former police chief of President Rodrigo Duterte, now being positioned for arrest under the banner of international justice. Ombudsman Crispin Boying Rimula declared before the camera that the International Criminal Court or ICC had already issued an arrest warrant for De La Rosa. His brother, Interior Secretary Junvic Rimula, echoed the statement, lending it the weight of coordination. Yet, no verified document from the ICC, no red notice from Interpol, and no judicial confirmation from the Department of Justice existed at the time of the announcement. The law had not moved, only politics had. The law spectacle. By proclaiming an arrest before the proof, the Rimula's brothers blurred the boundary between official function and political messaging. The Ombudsman Office is supposed to be the custodian of impartiality, not a megaphone for rumor. Announcing a warrant that had not yet been confirmed is an act of institutional recklessness, one that turns the rule of law into a weapon of perception. The Department of Justice or DOJ swiftly issued a statement. They were verifying the claim. The DILG admitted that there was no Interpol red notice, and the ICC itself, through assistant counseling in the Philippines, no public warrant existed. Yet the damage was already done.